and welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. Today we are introducing Rooting for You and its coordinating dies. I love this set so much. It's kind of our take on the stamp layering trend in a very cute and happy way. So let's go ahead and stamp it out. I'm using the brand new carrot ink to stamp the carrot image. Then I'm going to use some fake tan ink to stamp the lines. So I'll stamp those right there on top of that solid carrot. And then I can move on to some black licorice ink for the smiley face and some wild rose ink for some rosy cheeks. Next, I'm going to stamp the leaf in freshly cut grass and the veins in noble fir. Next, I'll be using lobster for this cute little radish. And a smiley face, I'm going to be using cranberry for the cheeks, freshly cut grass for the leaves, and some noble fir for the veins. Next we have fresh lavender for the bee, and I like to layer the fresh lavender twice. So I stamp it twice, once right on top of each other to get that nice gorgeous purple, and then I use some juice box inks for the little lines, a smiley face, and some wild rose little cheeks, and then some freshly cut grass for the leaves and noble fir again for the veins. Next, we'll be moving on to the turnip. So the new butter ink is perfect for the turnip, and then some fresh lavender for the lines at the top. Then, of course, we'll stamp a little smiley face and some rosy cheeks in wild rose. And then I'll be stamping the leaves once again in freshly cut grass and the veins in noble fir. I just love those two combinations together. Next, I'll be stamping the watering can in Peacock. Now you'll see when I stamped that out there, it didn't look so great, and that's because my ink pad had gotten dry. So I'm going to use one of the re-inkers now to re-ink my Peacock ink pad so that I can stamp that watering can nice and smoothly. After I add my ink, I like to let the ink pad kind of just sit and let that ink soak into it, and then I can go ahead and stamp out the watering can one more time, and it's going to look so much better this time. Then I'm going to stamp a little smiley face onto this cute little watering can just like I did on the other one, and of course some rosy cheeks in wild rose too. I also really like plastic flamingo for the rosy cheeks too. It's another really great color. Next, I'm going to be stamping out those cute little water lines right there, and then I can use the new manatee ink for the stake. I really like this. It really looks like a metal kind of stake color, so it's really perfect for this. And then we have all of these fun little words that can fit into the stake. So we have happy veggies, and then we also have radishes, carrots, beets, and of course turnips. So you can stamp any of those into that stake. I just love that font too, it's so fun. And then here's one more smiley face that's included in the set too. We have We're Rooting for You, and also I'm Rooting for You. And then I think my favorite sentiment, which is have an upbeat day. It just cracks me up. Then of course we have an exclamation point to add to the ends of these phrases. Now here you can see all of these cute images stamped out. I just love stamping these. It's so much fun to layer all of the bits and pieces and create your own cute little veggies. So now let's go ahead and die cut them. Here are the coordinating dies. You can bend them apart at those tabs or use your wire snips to give you a nice clean cut on those. Then I'm just going to take my die and some post-it note tape and line that die right up and use this low tack post-it tape to hold that die in place. And once I have all my dies on there, I can go ahead and put it through my die cut machine. Now, my favorite part, of course, is always the reveal. And when these pop out, they look so cool because it almost looks like a really fancy cardstock sticker, but you've created them yourself. So I just love the look of these. They just, oh, it's too cute. Now we've got all of these fun veggies, and what I like to do is put the leaves behind the veggie just like this. I really like how those layer together. So what I like to do is just add some glue to the very tip of the leaf as it's down on my work surface, since these are kind of tiny little pieces. So I just add a tiny bit of glue, and then I just add that veggie right on top, and then you'll be able to create these cute little veggies with their leaves. And then now for my radish. Now it's time to start creating a card. So I'm using my largest stitch rectangle die to cut some noble fir cardstock, and then I trimmed some mermaid cardstock down to 5 1/4 by 4 so that it would fit right inside those stitching lines. Here I have some brown cardstock and one of the new simple stitched hillside borders, which works so well with this set. And so I die cut that border, and now I'm going to stamp my We're Rooting for You sentiment on it. I'm going to create a standard size card base, which is 4¼ by 5½. I'll just do a little score line there and fold that down really well with my bone folder. And now I can add my die cut stitch rectangle noble fur piece on top. Next, I can layer my mermaid piece and then my hill with some foam tape. Now that all of these pieces are layered, it's ready, time to add the veggies. Now what I'm doing is doing 1 foam dot at the bottom and 2 at the top. Since that hill has foam, we kind of have to put 2 on the top there so that everything lines up well. Now once I've got these all in position, that's when I'll start actually peeling off the backing on the foam tape and layering those onto the card. I can add my little stake, and then just for a little extra something, I'm going to add some white gel pen stitching lines all the way around that mermaid cardstock piece, just to give it a little finishing touch. And then this is my little veggie card all done. It just makes me smile. I think it would just make anybody's day. Now it's time to start making another card. So I'm using my largest stitched rectangle again, and I've cut a white piece and a craft piece. And that craft piece is going to become my hill. So I'm going to use another one of the stitched hillside border dies. And you can see I'm kind of trying to lay out my scene with the stamp so I know how tall to make that hill. So that kind of gave me a nice little guide, and now my hill is ready to go on the bottom of my card. I'm creating 2 little lines right on the edges of the hill, and then I'm going to move that hill down just a little bit and draw a pencil line. The reason I'm doing that is I don't want the pencil line to be trapped under the ink, but I need that pencil line as a guide. So I just drew it a little bit smaller so that that hill will cover it. Now I'm stamping both of the carrots, the outside carrots first, and then I'm going to fill in the middle carrots just so they're nice and evenly spaced. Now that I have all the carrots stamped there, I can start stamping their leaves right on top. So I'm using some freshly cut grass for that, and then some noble fir for all of the little veins for the leaves. And so this is kind of a fun way to use this set without die cutting. It's just stamping directly on the card. So now that I've got all my carrots there, they now need some smiley faces. So I'm going to put my hill back once again and now draw a line right around the carrots that shows where the hill actually is, and that's to help me decide where my face placement is going to be. So now that I have that line there, I stamped out carrots into that stake, and I'm going to stamp the smiley faces right above that pencil line that I drew. The third carrot is going to get its own special little smiley, a different style of smile, and it's going to get some rosy cheeks, and I'm going to use plastic flamingo this time for the cheeks for some nice bright cheeks. Now that I'm done with placing the faces, I can now erase those pencil lines. And then I'm ready to finally add my hill on top. Now the next thing I need to do is stamp the little water line for the watering can. So I'm going to stamp that directly on the base and then stamp my sentiment, "I'm rooting for you," onto my craft hill. Now I can start layering all of these pieces. This is a really quick card because there's not too much die cutting in it. So I'm going to layer some peacock cardstock here on a card base, and then with some foam tape lay this stitched rectangle with my whole scene on it on top. And my little watering can there has been put on with some foam tape just to add a little extra something. And I think this is such a cute card. It's quick and easy to do and definitely would make someone smile. Now I thought it would be fun to create a bunch of cards in the same design. It's one of my resolutions for this year. I have a tendency to just always make one card of one thing, and then I never have enough cards to give out. So right now I'm going to make a ton of upbeat cards. So I'm stamping all of those little beets there in fresh lavender, and then their lines in juice box. And then I can go ahead and stamp some smiley faces, and then of course some rosy cheeks too. And then I can die cut all of these, and it actually goes by pretty quick if you keep just repeating the same step over and over again. So there are all of my little beets, and now I'm going to stamp the leaves for the top of them. See there that my fourth one from the left didn't stamp that well, so I just double stamped right on top of it, and it looks perfect. So anytime for some reason if I didn't get enough ink onto my stamp, I just double stamp right over, and it fixes any little ink mistakes that might be there. So now I'm going to die cut all of these leaves too, and now I've got a ton of all of these pieces. So I'm going to line them all up and then add some glue to the edges, and then I can go ahead and line all of the beets up on those. Like I said, this process goes really fast, like repeating the same thing over and over again. Now I want to stamp "Have an Upbeat Day," but I want it to be stacked, so I'm actually going to cut my stamp in half. So you can see you can put it right back together to get it long, but now I can take them apart and stack them for this card set. So right now I'm going to use that beat there on this card to kind of give me a guide as to where the have an upbeat day should go. And I'm going to use my Misty tool to stamp these on a bunch of die cut stitch rectangles. So I have a ton die cut there, and I'm just going to keep stamping the same thing, and it goes by so quick with this tool. Now that all of those are done, I'm ready to start adding my beads. So I'm going to take them all, turn them all over, and put foam dots on all of the pieces there, so 2 foam dots on each. And then once I'm done adding all of the foam dots, I'm actually going to peel off the backings on all of them. And then I've got my stack of cards here, and I'm just going to put one on, move a card, put another one on, and it goes by really quickly. And then I'm going to use the next largest stitch rectangle die to cut some peacock cardstock. I thought that bright blue would just really add a fun punch of color to this card set. So now I've got all of these little cards, and I'm going to go ahead and cut some card bases. So I'm going to cut 9" by 3 1/4. And so I'm going to be able to get 2 out of each piece of cardstock. And then any of those extra pieces, I save them for stamping out images later on for other cards. So I'm going to score at 4 1/2 on all of these cards. And then I can fold them and use my bone folder to give them a nice crease. I'll go ahead and add all of those stitched rectangles, which is the 4 1/2 by 3 1/4 size rectangle. And once I've added all of those, I'm now ready to add my white panel. So I'll just add a little bit of tape, and I've got my stack of cards there, and I'm going to layer them all on top of each other. And now I have this really great card set that I'm ready to send to people to hopefully make their days and send more cards out in the mail too. So here's a look at this cute little simple card and a look at all of the cards that I worked on today together. And then here are the 3 cards together. So you can see that you can go from a more complicated die cut card to a simple card with die cuts, or to stamping directly, which I think looks really, really cute too. So here is Rooting for You and its coordinating dies. I love this stamp layering set so much. It's our cute and happy fun veggie take on the trend, which I think is just adorable, and I cannot wait to see what you guys create with this, because I know it's going to be so creative and so cool. So make sure to share them with us. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing and upbeat day. Bye!